You're live.
You look good? Do you feel good about it?
Yes, can we go a little bit to that way?
This way?
Yep, perfect. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Wonderful. So, welcome to the summer solstice. Welcome to a very particular point in time. Welcome to a very charged, energetic existence. Not that I needed to welcome you to that. You are all here, you're all living in it, you all feel it. But thank you for being here and coming together in these ways so that we can collectively be a part of it, so that we can collectively opt in and be part of the solution here, because I'm pretty sure nothing's working for anybody right now. So, a couple of quick things I just want to go over. The teaching tonight is called I'm Not Afraid to Belong to You. This is a very specific teaching about the relationship between masculine and feminine energy. Now, I'm going to make this disclaimer, and then because we are all adults here, we get to choose what we take and what we leave, okay? So I understand that I am a cisgendered white woman. I'm a heterosexual female. And I know the privilege that comes with that. I fully understand that my everyday is considered the quote-unquote norm. So, because that is my assignment, and when I say assignment, I mean that was what I was born into. This is like the vibe that I carry, this is what I'm about, this is how I show up. So therefore, it's my assignment. It speaks to the people, places, and things that I am meant, as is dictated and designed by Source, to engage with and be a part of for the sake of the healing of humanity. So I say that because it's important to honor everyone's situation. It's important to honor everyone's experiences. And I would spend so much time trying to hit all the appropriate pronouns. So I'm just going to own the fact this is my space. This is who I am. So therefore, this is what I'm going to teach from. That does not mean I don't have love for any other space. I just can't speak to that space because that's not my space. The reason why that matters is because anytime we come up against a space that isn't technically like ours, where we feel maybe some resistance, some feedback, something, what that is an invitation. It's actually an opportunity for us to go in and ask ourselves, why do I feel resistance? Why is it that this is creating a thing in me? What is going on in here? So I say that because anytime I do any teaching, it's always about invitation. It's always about, I'm gonna speak my truth. I'm gonna share what I know. You can take what you need and leave the rest. This is always a dialogue. I am always open for conversation, for question, for more. I love conversation. I love healthy discourse. I am about it. That's the only way for us to grow and expand. So just know that as you are witnessing this teaching, witnessing yourself, taking in this teaching, it's important to maybe write down the things that you're a yes to and the things that you're a no to, because then it gives you some work, it gives you some kind of stuff to sink your teeth into and move forward from there. So I say that because as I'm teaching and as I'm speaking, talking about masculine and feminine, I'm going to use things that are my everyday language. Please also know that I understand there are very different types of everyday language for everyone that's sitting here and everyone that's listening, okay? Masculine and feminine energy. Real quick breakdown. We're talking about yin and yang. And those terms come from traditional Chinese medicine. I'm sure everyone here, everyone watching, has heard or at least seen that black and white symbol, right? Probably on some like hemp necklace when you were in middle school that you went to some hippie shop and got, and that's what you were wearing. But there really is powerful medicine to that. And when I say medicine, meaning there's information available to us there. There's important understandings about the energetics of our existence in that one little symbol. So just to give you a quick breakdown for anyone who's not familiar with it, in that symbol, circle, black, white, a little bit of like an S squiggly line in the center, a little bit of white in the black, a little bit of black in the white. Each one of those components has a very specific lesson or meaning or teaching to it. What I want to speak to, just for the sake of this teaching, is that the black is considered the feminine representation. The white part of that circle is considered the masculine representation. Now, we're not talking about gender or sex here. We are not. We are talking about energetic frequencies and the vibration, the presentation of this frequency. However, it can be sometimes in a stereotypical way seen in the way that men versus women behave, or female presenting versus male presenting behave, regardless of your anatomy or identification. So feminine energy, just to give a little bit of context, feminine energy is about stillness. Feminine energy is about receiving. Feminine energy is about going in. In our natural world, feminine energy is wintertime. Feminine energy is darkness. We could go on and on and on. And I'm sure as you're listening, you can think of, okay, these are the other spaces and times. Listening is feminine energy. So right now, I am embodying my masculine energy because I'm speaking, I'm being outward, I'm gesturing. Everyone who's listening is embodying and rocking their feminine energy because they're taking it all in. So that's kind of the exchange. Masculine energy, as the white part of the circle, is about daytime. It's about output. Feminine is receiving, masculine is output. Masculine energy is heat. Masculine energy is movement. Masculine energy is about external, manifestation. So when you think about the infinity symbol, right, it's this thing that goes like this. So while the infinity symbol is doing this, and the infinity symbol represents like ongoing life, right? Like everything is everything, it's a constant movement. What's happening is feminine involution, and then it crosses masculine evolution. Turn the corner, feminine involution, masculine evolution. Feminine involution and masculine evolution, on and on we go. So it's this constant dance that's going on. And we see it in our 24-hour cycle. Right now, we're heading towards the feminine because it's getting darker out. And then there's going to be a tipping point where it starts to get lighter. So we're starting to be more masculine in our natural surrounding. And that's what makes the solstice so powerful, is because it's this tipping point. Right now, this is the longest, in the northern hemisphere at least, this is the longest day of the year. Daytime is masculine, so it's like the most masculine expression of our natural world right now. And then after today, it's going to start tipping, and we're going to start heading towards the feminine. Shorter days, winter time, darker, colder, etc., etc. When you get to the winter solstice in the northern hemisphere, we're going to transition in a different way, okay? So the reason why that matters for the purposes of this teaching is because it helps us understand from a symbology standpoint the signs that are used for gender, right? So feminine, if you're a girl, you get this thing. It's like a little person and her arms are out. It's like she's got a head and she's just doing this. That's like the girl sign, right? She's still. She's just like holding her space, just hanging out. She has her arms out, and that matters. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then what's the symbol for a boy? A circle with an arrow. We are going places. We are doing things. It's output, right? One of the most important things that I want us all to not only remember for tonight, but in general to just get into your energetic ecosystem, your consciousness, is that every single human being on the planet has both masculine and feminine energy. Because masculine and feminine energy, as dictated and displayed by that symbol, need each other in order for anything to exist. That circle is like, hey, this is life right here. Everything is like an output and then an input, and an output and an input. All of life exists and occurs through that dance and that exchange. So me as just a human being, I have both masculine and feminine. You as just a human being, both masculine and feminine. The planet, masculine and feminine. Everything is made up of that dance. However, my personal belief is that we are so disconnected from our energetic representations that we don't actually even know how to be fully in our feminine or fully in our masculine. Again, has nothing to do with what type of identification you have, but as a human being, very few of us really understand the energetic nature of feminine energy and how to really flex it and be strong in it. And very few of us really understand masculine energy and how to flex it and be strong in it. Right now, they are so polarized that everyone is desperate, grasping, clawing, just anywhere. And I'm not even talking about the chaos of our world right now. I'm just talking about internally speaking. In your everyday relationships, there's this discord that's happening constantly. this push-pull, because none of us fully understand what it means to be embodied in our masculine or embodied in our feminine. So, that being said, for this solstice and this teaching of I'm not afraid to belong to you, I mean that very specifically as a woman saying to said partner, listen, I'm not afraid to belong to you. I'm not a 40s housewife, but I'm not afraid to belong to you because I understand what that means. So this is what we're going to talk about. This is what's going to get discussed-ish tonight. So I want to read something to you all about the wounded masculine and the wounded feminine to help us understand how these things show up kind of every day. So the wounded masculine. The wounded masculine will tell you that your sexuality is not your own. You will be approached with sexual undertone, but then reproached should you flex your prowess independently. The wounded masculine will tell you you are too available, that the vulnerability of your desires is actually an example of you not being whole on your own. The wounded masculine will tell you that you are too emotional, you ask for too much, you need too much attention, emotions are exhausting, and there is no space for them here. The wounded masculine will tell you that your inner knowing, your wisdom and intuition is crazy. In fact, you're crazy and it's an insult that you're even questioning. Who do you think you are? The importance of that, as you're listening to this, as you're taking this in, is it's easy for us to conceptualize that human men treat human women in this way, say those things, right? Like we've all had partnerships where it's like, bitch, you're crazy. You know what I mean? Like things are like not received well. Well, guess what? That's all fine and good that happens. And our own internal masculine energy, when it is wounded, we will say those same tapes to ourselves. I'm being too needy right now. I'm asking for too much. Ooh, let me just kind of go like, ooh, you know what I mean? Not feeling comfortable in our sexuality, not trusting our intuition, our connection with source. Ladies, we bleed every month according to how the universe exists. If that isn't a connection to source, I don't know what is. So we can trust our intuition. We just don't know how. So the reason that masculine energy is wounded is because it does not have a cultivated relationship with its feminine counterpart. And again, to go back to the yin and yang symbology, you cannot have one without the other. The other only knows itself through the existence and its relationship of its counterpart. So masculine energy becomes wounded. When I say the wounded masculine will tell you these things, it's because it's not comfortable. It has not cultivated a healthy relationship with its feminine balancing expression. Okay? So, the wounded feminine is a thing too, y'all. You know, it's not just about toxic masculinity. It is, but that's not the only thing. A wounded feminine, just the same way as the masculine has this exchange, the wounded feminine is wounded because it does not have a healthy and cultivated relationship with its masculine counterpart. So this is what that looks like. The wounded feminine will tell you, you're taking up too much space. How dare you ask for more? Don't you know you need to ask permission first? The wounded feminine will chastise you for asserting any type of flex or showing out in any way. Look at her. Who does she think she is? With such incredulous vehemence, you would think that you just killed a baby puppy. The wounded feminine will remind you over and over and over again that your place must be earned. That you shouldn't just assume you are able to be or say whatever you wish. You must consider the needs of others. In fact, put those others before you. Oh, and you want to go first too? Okay, go ahead. And you, okay. Our femininity is wounded because it is not balanced with healthy conviction of our innate masculine knowing. And no, I do not mean that only men know. As I've said before, we're talking about energetics here, not sex, not gender. It has not been taught that along with the softness and unconditional receiving of divine mother energy, we are also fiery creational beasts, tearing down and destroying the world in flames of redemption so as to make way for the new order. And this new order is the one where there is no linear order. An overabundance of linear thinking is actually toxic masculinity. Our energetic systems become septic and then we can't breathe. When we revisit that visual of the gender symbol of a circle and then directed just one line out, that's a representation of linear thinking. And linear thinking is super important. You know, we have a lot of thoughts all day long, but at some point we need to like do something. We need to like make a choice and go somewhere and like have an agenda. However, an overabundance of that, where we are so attached to this equals automatically this, will get us into trouble also. So we're trying to find balance here. And that is my jam, that is my love. I am devoted to restoring that balance of the masculine and feminine essential energies. Tonight we're going to focus on the feminine expression. And we're going to focus on the feminine expression as it pertains to relationship, with that statement of, I'm not afraid to belong to you. Because if we can understand it in here, we can do it with our partner, whoever that may be. And if we can do it intimately, we can do it globally. And we can start showing up for each other very differently. We can start embodying and understanding each other very differently, okay? So, this is my little lady here. This is sort of like, when I was making this, I was like, oh man, I haven't had the studio in a long time. Now I feel like this is like a little bit of her back in my space. So, this is an essential feminine medicine wheel. Real quick tutorial. Medicine wheel living is about cyclical living. Medicine wheel existence is a way of life and an existence that all indigenous people and cultures rocked at some point. So I was blessed enough to study with a variety of medicine people who taught me about medicine wheel existence. I walked with a medicine woman a whole year while she taught me this is what this is. This is how we live in a medicine wheel existence. This is what cyclical living is about. And while she so graciously shared her teachings, she was Mexica, so her lineage was Mexican and Apache. She shared her teachings only for me to find my way back to my teachings. My indigenous place is Western Europe. I am all the witchy things. I'm a white girl, I'm Scandinavian, I'm English, like that's my indigenous place. So from a pagan Wiccan perspective, it is heavily feminine. And those are the things that I teach and speak to and identify with, because as I said in the beginning, that's my assignment. Based on where I came from, that's part of my assignment, because those are my roots. That's my ancestry. A medicine wheel speaks to an entire year of existence, right? So we've got 12 months. You break it down into 4 like quarters or quadrants, 3 months each. And they are related to 4 elements, 4 directions. And medicine wheel existence honors the fact that each season, direction, and element has a certain representation, has a certain vibe to it. And you know, in Arizona, maybe not so much, we don't have the seasons, you know, the same way as other places, but we can still feel that shift. We can still feel that change where all of a sudden like summer's coming in, or like fall's coming in. You know, we can feel that subtle shift in the way the air feels on our body. So I'm going to give the generalized expression, and then we'll dig into the essential feminine component, these words that are around here. So this is the east direction. East direction is the air element. East direction is about receiving, okay? So that's why from an essential feminine perspective, motherhood is here. Because motherhood is about receiving, it's about gestating, it's about holding space, it's about allowing the possibility of something new to come in. And I want to be real clear about this, we are not just talking about human children. We are talking about anything new. If you talk to any artist, they will talk to you about, oh, like I'm pregnant with a book, I'm writing a new song. Like they're in that motherhood space because they're growing something, they're building something. So again, it's not just about being a woman, it's not just about being a human, but it just helps our brain kind of conceptually understand. That's the east direction. And then we shift into the south direction. South direction is the fire element. South direction is about activation. South direction is a place of creational energy. So we put sexuality here because sexual energy, sex energy is life force energy. Sex energy is creational energy. And again, not just about actually having intercourse with a partner, it's just about taking two components, putting them together, having some type of activation happen, and now something is occurring, some change, something is happening. In our world right now, we are rocking shit out of this south direction. And timely as it is, because that's what the solstice represents. The medicine wheel turns each direction based on the solstices and the equinoxes of the year. So today is the summer solstice. We are legitimately switching from the east direction down into the south direction. And is not our world full of fire right now? In all the ways. Are we not all as people full of fire right now? Full of activation, full of like breaking things open, right? That is a good thing. Because nothing old can be transformed unless it's not broken down first, right? West direction. If this is receiving in the east, right, where the sun rises, the sun sets in the west. That's where we release. That's where we let go, okay? The west direction is the water element. Sisterhood belongs here. Sisterhood translates to community. Sisterhood translates to many other people other than just one. Water is our emotional space. And listen, when a bunch of girls get together, we do a lot of crying sometimes. We got lots of emotions to get out. We got a lot of things we have to release together, right? And again, it's not just about women, but it's about the community. When you are held in your community, you learn and you understand this is the space. This is a safe place where I can release my stuff. So this is our west direction, our water element, our releasing. Spirituality. Spirituality is the north direction. Spirituality is the earth element. Its representation is grounding. This is the place where, after we've received a new idea, it's created some type of something in us, whether in a positive way or in an oppositional way. We've gone through what's been activated. Now we're ready to release part of it, and then we're going to ground in to the parts that we want to keep. We're going to stick with what we now know to be like, okay, this is what I want to hold onto. This is what I want to be about. This is about that clarity, that wisdom, that intuitive stillness that we know when we find our answer, our bodies are in a place of peace. So this is like the winter time. So spring, summer, fall, winter is how it shows up in our world, okay? East, south, west, north, air, fire, water, earth, north. I don't know what I just said. Either way, it's those things. So that's the general component of it. That is applicable for all people, even if you do not present and lead with a feminine expression. Because that is what we are talking about tonight. We're going to dig more deeply into that, okay? So motherhood, sexuality, sisterhood, spirituality. I'm a yes to this, fan. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to add that to the rider. Add that to the list. This teaching of I'm not afraid to belong to you. When I read, the wounded masculine shows up in this way. The wounded masculine says, like, oh, you're too available. Like you need to play hard to get. You're too available. I call bullshit on that. I call bullshit. When we are in the motherhood space, the receiving space, what that means is we are embodying the essence of the divine mother. And even if you are not the mother of human children, it is in every single person in this room and as they're watching to have softness, to have the ability to receive someone as they are coming to you. To use it for conceptual purposes, let's think about a little kid. If a little kid shows up throwing a tantrum, crying about something, whatever it is, what do? You immediately get down on your level. Baby, what do you need? What's going on? Arms open, I'm here for you. I will receive you always. Something happens when our bodies grow, where all of a sudden we feel like we don't need to receive people unconditionally anymore. You're a grown-ass man, you're a grown-ass woman, you should be able to figure this out. Okay, cool, you do have accountability and responsibility, but I believe that ability for us to respond in a way that unconditionally receives someone is what will change some of the game, okay? That doesn't mean we need to be a doormat. It doesn't mean we need to allow or condone disrespectful behavior, condescending behavior, whatever it is. But it does mean that we need to remember that every single person on this planet is wounded. And even though their body's big, this tantrum that they're throwing by telling us that we're too available, this tantrum that we're throwing by ghosting us, this tantrum that they're throwing by, shooting off at the mouth, that's their wounded child speaking. And that's it. So receive them in that way, just so that it shifts your perspective, just so that there is a space of softness where you don't automatically post up and get on the defense, okay? Self-direction, sexuality, that creational energy. Man, as women, our relationship with our sex energy is all kinds of jammed up. I feel like each one of these components could be a very individual in-depth teaching. And I've taught this, for years before, 2 groups of women, taking them through medicine wheel existence. I still take women through that. And each one very much hits home. Each one asks us to step outside of our initial definition of what motherhood is, what sisterhood is, et cetera, et cetera. And sexuality is no different. That doesn't mean you need to be like a freak on the pole all the time. It just means that you have the capacity, giggle, right? Because I don't really know how to picture that or think about that, or maybe I want to do that, I don't know. You tell me, I got a pull, let me know. What it means is that we have a relationship with our south direction. We have a relationship and a comfort level with that activation space. So when things get heated, we don't shy away from that. We don't shy away from that. We don't have to come at it in a masculine way, but we do not discount the fact that we have a strength and a fire that can handle whatever comes at us. Not only in opposition, but also in communion and harmony. When we are turned on, that's where all life comes from. And again, I don't mean turned on like having sex, having intercourse. I mean sensory turned on. I mean making yourself a drink that has rose water and rosemary and lime and whatever else, and your whole body is like, oh my God, this drink is so good right now. That's being turned on. That makes you alive to your world, expands your senses, and allows you to connect with all these other components, particularly this one. Particularly because of that opposite relationship of north and south, okay? Polarity is a thing, y'all. That's why we're talking about yin and yang, masculine and feminine. The polarity matters. From a sisterhood perspective, and this is a really important one that I'm going to speak to in a very specific context. But in order to do that, we're going to talk about this right here first. So I said earlier, okay, the symbol for boy, circle, arrow, linear direction, okay. Symbol for girl, posted up, standing, arms out. Masculine energy knows that it is valuable just inherently upon existence. And to use a very, again, stereotypical example, but it is a nod to the true essential nature of masculine energy, how many times have you had experiences with men where they just sort of show up and they're like, I can fix this, I got this. I've got maybe an iota of training, but I got this. Okay? They just know that they exist and they have a place and they deserve to have a place. They just know that. We have masculine energy as well. So just because I present as a female does not mean my knowing of my place is any less in existence. That is me rocking my masculine expression, okay? That is me just being like, yep, I'm here, therefore I'm valuable. That is what masculine energy brings to the table. Feminine energy knows its value through its relationships. That's why these arms and these hands are out. Let me connect with you, let me connect with you, let me connect with you, let me do this, let me do this, let me do this. So again, the stereotype is women can multitask. Men only have a one-track mind, but women can multitask. Yeah, stereotype, and there's a thread of truth in there, okay? Extremes of anything are not balanced or healthy. So I'm not saying we need to go from all the way over here to all the way over there, but let's just acknowledge some of the inherent nature in things, okay? So feminine energy knows its value based on its relationships with everything around it. which is why she's like, yeah, I'm right here, kind of connecting, all right? Why that matters for this west direction, for this sisterhood component, and let me remind you, because it's popping in my head, so I gotta say it, let me remind you, this matters for men too, because men have feminine energies. Men also need to learn how to unconditionally receive. Men also need to learn how to understand their sexuality in a different way. Men also need to understand that to get your needs met, you gotta go a lot of places. That is one of the essential teachings of feminine energy, is that you are allowed, and in fact quite required, to go get your needs met a lot of places. Because when we do that, and we come back to our partner, we're not dumping all our shit on them. Because I just got my needs met over here by my homegirl when we cried our eyes out. I just got my need met over here by my business manager, who made it all about me, allowed me to flex my masculine energy, and now I come home and I can be softer. Because I was allowed and afforded the space to show up really strong. Okay? That's what I'm talking about sisterhood. That's what I'm talking about as far as getting our needs met in different places. When Nicole and I paired up, and I know that y'all over there on the ether webs don't know about Nicole. Nicole is my partner in business. One of the first things she said to me was, I think you just need someone to organize your thoughts. And I was like, yes, please. Yes, please. I need someone to organize my thoughts. I need someone to take all this feminine energy that's doing this and direct it somewhere. The other thing that she said to me was, guess what? I'm gonna need you to be the talent. To which I immediately was like, come again now? What was that? What do you want from me? And at the same time, if I'm being really honest, as soon as she said that, I was like, yes, that's what I want. I know I'm the talent. I know I have shit to say. I just need someone to help me create a platform to say it. But can I tell you the amount of discomfort and guilt I felt at being like, yeah, I know I'm the talent. I was immediately, my wounded feminine was like, no. You're not allowed to be big. You're not allowed to have a voice. No. You're not allowed to do this. Because my relationship with my masculine energy was very wounded. So, through this exchange, through her gently pulling me, let me take this, hey, can I do that? Hey, you know what I mean? We started engaging in this dynamic of, oh, okay. So our agreement, our energetic relationship, because again, that's what we're talking about here. Everything is relationship. And everything, when you come together with someone, when you partner up with someone, not just in an intimate personal relationship, but friendships, business partnerships, co-workers, children, everything has an inherent desired existence and exchange. So the jam that Nicole and I have is she helps me organize my stuff. She allows me the space to do my teachings, to do my work. And she kind of is she's like this buffer. She kind of helps me hold that space, which is a more inherently feminine expression, while I'm now being masculine. And then when I'm in my processing mode and I'm all over here being flighty and spiritual in my feminine, she's collecting all of that and directing it somewhere. So she's in her masculine. So this is our constant dance that we do all the time. And I'll tell you what, one of the first things when she and I started working together, it occurred to me, I'm like, oh man, you're gonna end up changing the things that I want from my men. Our relationship is gonna make me want different things from my man now. Because I'm being fed over here in that way. There's a space in my life where I get to really flex my masculine energy. So I'm not trying to figure out how to get that. That's the sisterhood component. And again, when I say sisterhood, I mean community. I mean multiple places where we can get our needs met. Again, this speaks to men as well. It's not just women. It's this idea that feminine energy teaches us that it's okay to go other places to get other things. Okay? The spirituality component. That's the north direction. That's that grounding energy. That's the inner work, y'all. That is our relationship with source. That is our relationship with the world and the energetics around us. We are an extension of source energy, of creational energy. So whatever it is that's going on out there is going on in here. And it's kind of like the chicken or the egg, because it's well, did out there affect this or did in here affect that? Well, it's both at the same time. And that idea of both, the fact that I use and all the time to the point where I'm sure you get annoyed with me saying it, where it's like da 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 da, and that is an essentially feminine expression. Because feminine energy, again, is not going specifically in any direction. Feminine energy understands that it can move in and out of spaces all the time, at the same time even. We're constantly in and out of channels. That's that idea of multitasking. We are, being the divine mother, unconditionally receiving, and also like going to get our needs met somewhere else. And also being like ready to like create something new and be passionate and like be turned on. And at the same time, being divinely led by the energetics that flow through us. Okay? Spirituality, the north direction, is about listening to our intuition. And again, as women, as feminine presenting, this also is true again for the masculine presenting, everyone has intuition. Everyone has that gut instinct. Everyone has that capability to listen to themselves and read their surroundings, read their situation from a more subtle, intuitive level. That also is a feminine demonstration, because what did I say earlier? Feminine energy is about listening, it's about being still, it's about being quiet. The only way that we can get some of that guidance is by being still, being quiet, learning how to listen, not only to what we're sensing out here, but what we're hearing in here. That's a feminine expression, okay? So, to go back to the roles of relationship, to make it very practically applicable. There is this like desire out in the world, and there's this pressure that we feel like is put on us as women to be everything. I gotta work, I gotta take care of the kids, I gotta clean the house, and you want me to have sex with you? Okay, cool, right? Like there's all of this pressure that we feel like we have to, fulfill, all these things that we have to fulfill. Well, this is the piece where I'm not afraid to belong to comes into play. Because in my opinion, this is again, take what you need and leave the rest, but I invite you to sit with this. That idea of being like a lady in the street and a freak in the bed, that's not a punishment. That is a nod to the fact that when we are in our essential and inherent nature, we are everything at the same time. We are the Madonna and the whore. We are the divine mother and the homegirl. We do not have to choose. We don't have to choose. So it becomes for me an invitation to allow myself to be essentially feminine. An invitation to not worry about whether or not my availability is too much. I just know that this is how I feel. And because I rock this all day long and I'm grounded in my intuition, that's the hit that I get, that I want to be with this person. Guess what? That's all I know. Being comfortable in that space and allowing the next step to come to you is also an essentially feminine expression. Remember, masculine energy is about the directed output. It's about the next step. So what I mean by that, again, in a practical application way, in a relationship, let's say, and this is a constant thing all over the place, right? One person's in, the other person's out. It's like this, that's the dance. It's like one person's like, wait, and they're like, no. Or as soon as then the one who said, wait, says, okay, fine, the other one's like, wait. So there's this constant thing happening. As a people, specifically in the Americas, North America, toxic masculinity is, again, an overabundance and an obsession with that linear thinking. I need to know all of the steps and the exact outcome and direction before I even commit to where I am in this moment. That is so unproductive and not helpful and not even accurate or true. Like cool. How's that working out for us? Okay? And just because, again, I am a feminine presenting person does not mean that I don't rock toxic masculinity. I do all day long. All day long. I get really stuck in my head. I get really uncomfortable if I'm not doing something. Like, just because we are women does not mean that we do not engage in toxic masculinity. Toxic masculinity isn't just on the men. It's not on them, but it's not only on them, okay? In that relationship dynamic where someone's in and someone's out, or someone's non-committal, we get really on our own cases as women. You should leave him. He's not treating you right. Da, 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 da. Cool. Maybe. But one of the worst things we can ever do is try to force ourselves to be somewhere that we are not yet. If I'm still in love with someone, even though they're not quote unquote showing up, and I do this because what that means is they're not doing what I think they should be doing, because I know everything. If I'm still in love with somebody, one of the most one of the most detrimental things that I can do to myself is to berate myself over and over. What is wrong with you, Olivia? Why can't you get over him? Why can't you leave him alone? What is wrong with you? I just go in on myself because I'm not behaving the way I think I should behave. Well, if I'm not done yet, I'm not done. End of story. I can choose to perceive myself differently when I start to allow myself to be in that cultivation space, in that gestation space. Again, motherhood is not just about human children, but if I'm struggling with someone and I can't seem to let go of them, well, I'm still gestating. I'm still learning my lesson. I'm still trying to understand what it is that person has showed up to reflect back to me. And the lesson's not done until it's done. I would prefer to not rush that, because that's when I miss out on the goods. That's when I, quite honestly, perpetuate the wound over and over and over again, because I'm not trusting myself. Because I'm not trying to understand what's being activated in me and then do the work to release it and heal through it and move through it, feel my feelings, cry my eyes out, handle the emotions. As women, there is a lot of the, smash the patriarchy thing going on. And I'm not a no to that. There are a lot of things that are really out of balance, for sure. I'm not a no to that. But what I will say is that if we attempt to lift up the feminine in a toxically masculine way, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. It's not going to get us anywhere, because all we're doing is, again, as I said in the personal example, we're just perpetuating it over and over. True feminism for me, and again, not just for women, for all people on the planet, because it's a relearning, a recognition of our relationship with feminine energy. True feminism understands that everyone on this planet is wounded, and learns how to have the capacity to receive everyone, no matter what they look like or how they're showing up, in that soft, divine mother, unconditionally receiving way. True feminism will understand how to dig in to that activation, will not be afraid and get defensive when there's heat happening, when there's fire going on. True feminism will understand that everyone has a role to play. Everyone has a job to do. True feminism will allow us the space and time to go in and do the inner work. Because then once we clear that out, again, with the help of our homegirls, homeboys, with our community, whatever it is, clear that out, then we are more open and available and spacious to receive and understand and see the bigger picture of what's going on. As a little bit of a breadcrumb, to me it's not an accident that racism and sexism are at the top of the list right now. It's not an accident. Because if we go back to that yin and yang expression, Feminine energy is the black part of the circle. I think that there's a really important through line for that, quite honestly. So smash the patriarchy, man. I'm not so much about that, the energy that comes with that. Because that idea, it's not that you're not allowed to be angry. Yes, ma'am, please be angry. But don't let it stop at the anger, because anger is just a defensive emotion. Anger is something that keeps everything out there. It's a protective experience that keeps everything out there and does not allow it to get into the soft, tender pain that's underneath the anger. So it's fine to be angry. Go ahead. But let it motivate you to get up and over that defense to the wounded child that's underneath there, to the sad expressions, to the pain that's underneath that. That is literally the only way any of this will work. And when I say this, I mean all of the things. I mean your relationship, I mean our country, I mean politics, I mean teaching, I mean parenting, I mean everything. We have to get over that anger. We have to let that motivate us to do this inner work. Otherwise, nothing else is going to work. So instead of smash the patriarchy, it becomes teach the patriarchy, heal the patriarchy. And as women, as feminine presenting beings, we have a little bit of a leg up on this because we have like an inherent understanding of how to do this. So when I say to you, or when you hear things like the future is female, or like yin rising, it's not just that we need more women like in, influential places. What it really says and what it really means is that we need to better understand our relationship with the feminine expression so that whatever directed action is taken is cultivated in the deep, sacred, safe, beautiful wisdom of the feminine. That's how it's supposed to work. Involution, do the work, go in, so that our directed action is coming from a place of sacredness. Our directed action of the infinity symbol, our evolution, our output, comes from a place that understands these energetics and these components. The energy with which we do everything in our world is the only thing that truly dictates the outcome. Truly. You can change your vibration constantly, but whatever it is that you are carrying energetically with you as you are, in that masculine space of expression or creation or whatever output is going to be fueled by what it was cultivated in, that gestation space. So be real careful about what your motives are. Be real aware of the place from which you are moving forward so that it can be a healed place, so that it can be a open-minded, patient, understanding place. Again, this does not mean that we are going to be doormats. This does not mean that we don't get to use our voice. It just means that the power of our masculine expression will be so much more potent when it's cultivated in the beauty of the feminine. Both have a role to play. Both have a job to do, and one cannot do their job without the other. So, I'm not afraid to belong to you is for sure about my man. I'm not afraid to belong to you shows up in my relationship because it's like, yeah, I'm gonna do all these things because I got it like that. Because I am the feminine expression that can hold all the things. I no longer, and this is me speaking for myself, I no longer wish to allow myself to depreciate what it is that I inherently embody. I'm a no to that. I'm a no to that. And on behalf of my sisters, I'm a no to that for you. Whatever that looks like. And that's the thing, is that it doesn't have to be my way. Like how you flex your sexuality, your creational energy, your fire, it doesn't have to be the way I do it. But because I understand that everyone has a place and everyone has an elemental representation, and everyone has an energetic presentation, there's enough space at the table. That's why when I said that in that spoken word, like there's plenty of room at the table for all of us. We all have a role to play, but the only way that we will understand what that role is if we exist in this cyclical nature. We're constantly in and out so that we can get quiet enough to really ground in to the truth of things. And then I'm not afraid to belong to you because you are an extension of me. Not just as my sister, not just as my man, not just as my mom, not just as whatever. You are an extension of me. So I'm not afraid to belong to you because I'm grounded in what I am. I know who and what I am and how I show up. I'm comfortable in that. You're not a yes yet? Okay, cool, I am. What your yes and no is does not dictate what my yes and my no is. This is the last piece that I'm going to read to you, my darlings, and then you can be done listening to me jabber at you. I'm not afraid to belong to you because I know what I am. I'm not afraid to belong to you because I understand the medicine of the feminine, the sacred wisdom that energetically predisposes me to move in and out of spaces, roles, jobs, and expressions simultaneously. I am your mother, unconditionally receiving you, your soft landing place, always holding space for your greatness, while also towing the line of boundary, respect, and standard. I am your muse. The power of my sexuality is intriguing, activating, and healing all at once, and I know that. I will not use it against you. Know that I maintain agency and ownership of it until you claim your territory and revere it as the sacred vessel it is. Do not use that against me. We need each other in this way, and as such, must honor each other in this way. I'm your homegirl. Walking beside you in equality, power, and brilliance because I feed myself other places, all the places. It takes a lot to meet a woman in all her facets. And that's not really a job for only you, that's what my sisters are for. I am your wise counsel. All life must pass through my body. The wisdom of my ancestors whispers in my ear each month. I do the work of self, and I'm not afraid of the threshold that is life and death. I got you. Maiden, mother, matriarch, and crone. All things at once, because we got it like that. This is not a condemnation, this is a liberation. This is not a condemnation, this is a liberation. And my invitation to all of you, masculine, feminine, hetero, homo, nothing, all of it, I don't care. My invitation to you is to step outside of the physical attachments and to start to understand the language that is energy, the energetic exchange, the input and the output. If we can step out of that, that's us taking our ego, our personality, our baggage out of the equation, and then we just get to work in the true sense. That's where the magic is. That's what's up. That is my desire and wish for all of us, for all the things. Summer solstice is the tipping point of dark and light. Dark has a role to play, light has a role to play. So from a planetary perspective, we've got a lot of really important power on our side right now. The earth is shifting in this way. The energy of light and dark is shifting in this way. Let us also shift in this way, okay? Let us also be open to knowing that we don't know everything. And there may be some other options, and maybe saying something like, I'm not afraid to belong to you makes us cringe a little bit, but maybe the cringe, the activation, is a good thing. Because it lets us know where we have room to grow. It lets us know where we can start to push our edges. And if I can push my edges, and push my edges, and push my edges, and push my edges, guess what? I get closer and closer and closer to you. And that's really where I want to be, is right there with you. Every time, all the time. I love you, I love you, I love you. Thank you for being here, witnessing this, listening to this. If anyone has questions about anything, please feel free to reach out, email, on social media, whatever it is, whatever you need, I'm here for it. As I said, I love conversation, I love healthy discourse. Like, let's do it, let's talk about it. Let's do some things different. Expand your definitions. Allow your masculine and feminine to show up. And let's just see what happens. Okay? Thank you. I love you. Do I have to stop this? Excuse me, hold on. Oh, hold on, not a touch screen. I know, I will get used to it one of these days. Complete.